In case you don't remember, I've been using the MacBook Pro for about a month now, so I'm definitely living that dongle life. I'm probably going to make a quick video here in a few days about some of the other accessories I'm using with the MacBook Pro, but this company reached out to me and offered to send out this USB Type-C hub for the MacBook, and while it doesn't address every single thing you'll possibly need with the new MacBooks, it ticks a lot of boxes, so let's check it out. As you can see here, we have the FTLL Type-C hub. It mentions 4K output. It has one USB Type-C port, one HDMI port, and two USB 3 ports. Flip it over to the back, we'll see all that same stuff again. HDMI output up to 4K, USB Type-C port for charging, as well as two USB 3 Type-A ports. There's not much more to say about it other than that. And since it's just a hub inside the box, that's what you get. There's no paperwork, there's nothing else, just the hub. It has about a 4 or 5-inch cable attached to it, USB Type-C port right here, nothing on the back side, HDMI port here on the end, two USB 3 Type-A ports, as well as a USB Type-C port for charging. And so in order to use it, we're basically just going to take this, we're going to plug it right into the MacBook, and now we have additional ports. You can see this blue LED lit up here. Because it does have this cable attached to it, we have some flexibility so we can sort of move it around to suit our needs. I would say be careful with it because you never know, you might break the cable. Now I've got the hub plugged in, I've got the HDMI running through it, and as you can see, it is mirroring the displays appropriately. I can come over here and tell it to use it as a separate display. And now I do have two different displays. We can just sort of drag and drop between the two. Of course, they're setting at different locations, so just left to right, you can see it's working. And just a little bit that I've used it here, I don't notice any lag, I don't notice any issues related to that. So just as an HDMI connection, getting the job done. Now I've gone ahead and hooked a couple of drives up to the USB portion of the hub. I have a Western Digital My Passport Ultra drive, and then a little enclosure with an mSATA SSD inside of it. I also tried hooking a little thumb drive up to the USB-C port just to see if it could be used, and it does not appear to pass data through on that port. It's just for charging, and we'll test charging on it in just a minute. But while I've got the drives connected, if I go ahead and select the Western Digital and hit start, you can see the write speed is about 100, the read speed is about 100, 112, 115. That's actually exactly what it is when I plug in directly using USB Type-C. It's not a super fast drive, it's a 5400 RPM drive. If I switch over to the mSATA drive and do the same thing, because I'm using the right cable, it actually says 375 and over 400 when it comes to read. So 375, 400, that's very impressive. I tried a bunch of different USB Type-C to Type-A cables, and this little one that was included with the enclosure is the one that's actually working best. Should be obvious. But that's about the same speeds that I get when I plug directly in using USB to Type-C, so it does appear that this hub is allowing me to achieve the full potential of my connected devices. And while this is doing all of that same hard drive testing, the external display is still working just fine. And during all that testing, putting it under load and whatnot, this has a metal exterior shell. To the touch, it is definitely getting warm. It's not burning me or anything, but it's just to let you know it is warming up. And I've gone ahead and hooked it up to my 4K TV on the wall, and when I come in a little bit closer on it, you can actually see 3840 by 2160, although it is only doing 30 Hertz. It didn't mention anywhere on the packaging that it would do 60, so I will assume that it does not. But that does mean in my editor I can always say put the viewer on the secondary display, and now while I'm editing, it's on a big 4K display. And that is playback and multi-angle playback while editing. You may have also noticed there that it was passing through the audio, so it's actually coming out of the TV at this point. That's Amy. And then if we go ahead and plug in the USB Type-C power adapter while we're using this, we can come up here and see when it focuses. There we go. It is charging the device, and everything does appear to be working appropriately. And that's going to wrap this video up for today. It does have a very nice, very solid build quality. It does come in a couple of different colors. You have silver as well as gray, although on the box they show two other colors, a gold and a pink. There are sort of two downsides to this as far as I can see it. One, it doesn't have any sort of SD card slot to it. I would kind of prefer it if instead of having this USB Type-C port, if it had an SD and a micro SD card slot, or even just an SD card slot, because that's woefully underrepresented in the new MacBook Pros. I do have an SD card adapter. I'll go into that in the other video where I talk about all the accessories I use with this. The other sort of downside about this is just the price. It's about $57 over on Amazon for either one of them. That's at the time of filming this. That price could change, so just keep that in mind, but you've seen how it works. You've seen the price, you've seen the design. You can make your decisions for yourself. Thank you guys as always for watching. Thanks to the company for sending this out for me to take a look at. Make sure to hit that like button if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel to receive more when they become available. And I'll see you again next time.